Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ANN American News Network. I'm your host, Vlad. We have a special guest with us today, Zakiya. Zakiya is no longer black because she supports Trump, but she used to be. She used to support BLM. She was a feminist, radical, and then one day she was whitewashed with the Trump propaganda. So, Zakiya, you in your video, you're part of the walk away movement. That's how I
Correct.
discovered you. Your video is blowing up. You were on Jesse Lee Patterson the other day,
Yes.
but your video is very interesting on how you walked away from the Democrat Party. Can you please go into detail a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. Firstly, thank you so much for allowing me to be on your podcast. This is very exciting for me. But the reason why I had my black card revoked was because I decided that I was done being a part of the Democratic plantation, and this was a crazy scenario that caused me to even look to the right because I was fully liberal, fully left. Um, so let me just get into it. So in 2021, I moved out of my parents' house into my first apartment. And the way my apartment was set up was it was like a conjoined, like Jack and Jill style dorms. So you would have a shared bathroom with the roommate of the same sex. That's what it said in the lease, online, everything. So I was okay with that because it was what I could afford at the time. And I wanted to move out of my parents' house ultimately. So I moved out and I didn't have a roommate. So I was content with the situation because I'm like, I didn't think I really had anything to worry about. And I was like, worst case scenario, I get a girl and she doesn't like cleaning up or something like that. I didn't think it was anything like as extreme as it became. I didn't really think that was going to actually happen. So what ended up happening was I was living in my apartment, but I was living with my man. We didn't live together, but I was kind of just renting my apartment out, but not really staying there. So at a certain point in time, after about a year, me and my boyfriend ended up moving into my apartment together. And that's when I discovered that I had a roommate. They never informed me that I was going to get a roommate, but I was like, okay, it's clearly somebody living here. But what I noticed was the roommate that I was given, like they seemed to be a male. And I got that from the fact that the toilet seat was always left up like a man was using the toilet. And I'm like, what's going on? Because I was told I was getting a female roommate. So my initial assumption was it was like me, like maybe it was a girl who happened to have her boyfriend living with her, you know. So I just didn't think it was a dude, just a dude. But what I found out was, and I found this out because I was walking out of my room one day, and me and the person who was neighbored with me happened to come out at the same time, and I noticed that it was a man. He was a man. It's the plainest way to say it. It was a trans woman, and
Just a
I knew that.
man dressed as
But
a
the,
woman.
the, the reason, yes, a man dressed as a woman, and he had breasts. Like it was clearly like somebody who was going through like the transition. And I was
Okay.
like, wow, like this is crazy. And I had a hankering that it was just the dude because we could hear him through the walls. He would be like on the VR on the game, like, and I could hear it was clearly a male's voice, and never heard a girl. So I'm like, where's the girl that lives here? Like I was really confused. And this person was the most disgusting. When I used to go to college, I had female roommates before. I've had dirty girls. This was a man, disgusting. Like he did not flush the toilet. Like I said, the seat was always left up. There was always he would take number twos and not flush the toilet constantly. And I'm like, I have to live here. And I signed a lease, and they told me that I was gonna have a same sex roommate, and yet it's a man in here. Like what's going on? So I just decided to stop paying rent because I'm like, maybe they thought I left. I don't know, but I was like, whatever. And eventually, after a few months of doing that, I get in contact with the housing manager because I just wanted answers. And I'm like, I sent an email, and I was like, it's evident that there's a male in my room, and that's not what I signed up for. That's not what my lease said, and y'all are broken my lease contract. And this lady calls me. She doesn't email me back. She calls me. So I have no trace of this, but I promise. She calls me and she says, "Oh yeah, so with that situation, we weren't allowed to discriminate against him. So that's why we had to room him with a woman." I'm like, what? That's insane. That was the most insane thing I ever heard in my life. And she was not joking. And it was a black woman on that phone talking to me. She told me that they could not discriminate against this man that they moved in my room. They didn't know that I had a man, my boyfriend lived with my boyfriend living with me. So for all they knew, it was just me. I was 21 years old when this was happening by myself in this apartment building, in my first apartment. And this guy sharing a bathroom with me. We have a conjoined space. We're sharing a shower and everything, shower and a tub. And it was just one situation.
So how many people altogether shared like the bathroom?
It was my boyfriend and I. We had our room, and then just the other person. Okay. He was by himself. So it was just the three of us. And it was just horrifying. It was disgusting. I didn't want my boyfriend to leave. If he had to leave, I would want to be with him. I didn't want to sleep in there by myself at all because it was like horrifying. I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, what if this person decided they wanted to come to the bathroom and just like, who knows? Like, I just couldn't even sleep in there. It was really scary. And this situation, led me to look towards the laws because I live in Chicago, so this is a very liberal city.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? Because I was aware of, the fact that they have the LGBT and, transgenders are accepted. And before my experience, I was okay with it. I was like, I want to be PC. I want to be polite. So, if you say your pronouns are she, her, and you're clearly a man, I'm going to call you a she because that's polite. But I realized that's lying and I'm not doing that. And that's when I changed my perspective because I'm like, I'm lying to appease men. I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? Like, I didn't really think about it, but I always had the internal conflict, but I kind of just swallowed it because I'm like, I don't want to be ostracized. I don't want people to say that I'm transphobic or homophobic, but that's just a way to try to tell you to control you. And I don't like that. So that's why, I decided to walk away because the fact that my now husband and I had this experience together and really nobody has like the intimate details that we have about living with this person and how disgusting it was and how we could just hear them in the walls and just being scared of just like what this person is disgusting and they seem unstable. Like I've had times where my husband, I had to tell him because I would be cleaning the bathroom to the best of my abilities. And it was a time where I remember I cleaned the toilet and this person came. They used the bathroom and did not flush right after I just cleaned it. So I told my husband, I'm go tell that person to clean up, to flush the toilet, because that's ridiculous. And so he went over there and he told him. And the fact that had to happen more than once was insane. So this person was clearly like, something was not right. Because I'm like, what? You're an adult. You're an adult. Why are you acting like this? How do you live like this? This is crazy. Are you living with a woman? You call yourself a woman? It was insane because I kept my room spick and span. So it was like, wow, this is insane. So they can't discriminate against him, but they discriminated against me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to with this whole movement of theirs. They, like you said, yeah, you used to respect their pronouns. And like you said, you were like, whatever, okay with it. But then it hit home. And I have this conversation very often with people. People are like, oh, Vlad, I don't want to hear about politics. I don't care about politics. And I tell everybody something that like my parents and grandparents told me. You don't care about politics until communism knocks at your door and you're living in a police state.
Exactly.
Care about politics. Who did you vote for in 2020?
I didn't even vote. But if I did vote, I was going to vote for Joe Biden. I was the type to be like, I don't care because all these white people are evil anyway. So I'm not even going to bother voting because it doesn't matter. That's how I felt about politics.
But if you were to vote,
I was embodied a lot of Democratic ideologies and didn't even realize it.
And your boyfriend, now husband, you guys have been married. You shared with me for a couple of months now. Was he a Democrat before? Because I saw the pictures and the videos. He's wearing MAGA now.
Yep. Yeah. We both evolved. We were both like, I was a little bit more extreme because I had the feminist values and all that encompassed in me too. He wasn't really on the racist edge like I was either, but he did have a Democratic leaning and he was like a pro-black type, like Black Lives Matter. He said he attended Black Lives Matter protests as well. So, we all just kind of had that leaning and didn't know. That's the craziest part.
It's like walking with the crowd. So I want to move on and talk about too. So you are a female who supported that, who was with it, but then it hit home, right? They actually broke the contract stipulations with you that they signed. They didn't warn you about it. You have now a man who's supposedly a woman now, sharing a space where according to the contract, a woman was supposed to. Then you call the office, you complain, and they tell you, we don't care about your feelings. We can't discriminate against, let's call it
Right.
right? And now those same Democrats and feminists, how are they treating you now after a male pretty much invaded your privacy, took your space, they broke your trust, they broke the agreement and the contract? How do the Democrats treat you?
Oh, well, it's a journey now. I was so terrified to come out openly about my political beliefs because I knew for a fact from being on that side that if you betray them, you're doomed. They're gonna treat you like you don't matter, and that's absolutely been how I've been treated. I already had like an influencer following because I initially had a platform that was focused on like Black natural hair, and so I wasn't really political with my leanings. But when I decided to come out more political, that's when I started receiving so much public slander that I almost couldn't take it. Like the fact that I had people who were following me. My father passed away in the year 2022. And I had a following when that happened, and people were so, seemed like they cared about it. But when I came out, people were literally telling me that I deserved to have the fact that my father died because of my political leanings. And I'm like, wow, this is truly evil. Like, y'all are truly evil for treating me like this, for what I believe, for telling the truth. People don't care about the fact that there was a man in my room. I've been called transphobic by my followers. And I'm like, wow, okay, so I'm transphobic for knowing the difference between men and women. Y'all are delusional. I don't support delusion. I had posted a poll on my Instagram story once just asking, are trans women? And I had people that I personally knew, people that I called my friends, saying that trans women are women. I'm like, wow, so you don't care about what happened to me at all. I deserve what happened to me. I should have just got with it. That's crazy.
See, and I have 4 daughters.
Wow. Right. My father had 4 daughters also.
Yeah. So, and in my family, my brother has 4 girls, my sister has 2 girls, so girls everywhere. And now where men are coming in. Now, for me, like I say, if you want to be trans, whatever you want, be it, right? That's the great thing about America. But when it comes to enforcing your beliefs on me, just like they say, oh, these Bible stompers.
Right.
Right. When these people are just standing on a corner and preaching, right? They're not looting, they're not
freedom of speech.
Right. Exactly. But when laws are being passed, you either have to accept my Christianity or we're going to cancel you or you're Christian Christ-phobic, right? We can make up a bunch of terms.
Right. Exactly.
But I have this last question, and this is, I think, the most important thing. And this is why I wanted to talk to you, because you've gone through it. You know how it works. How do we not just partake in this culture war to save America and our future, but how do we win? How do we get the messaging across the right way? Does everybody truly have to go through your experience, you think? Or do you think there's, of course, you speaking out, your social media platforms, that helps a lot, but on a big scale, because we see the left, they got the news media, they got social media, they got Hollywood. How do we fight back and get our country back?
Honestly, I believe that the only way that this country is going to ever get back to what it was would be for people to go back to having Christian values within their homes and their families, because the communism is the exact opposite of Christianity and having godly values. So the fact that this country is devolving into communism very quickly is showing that we clearly have devolved away from Christian values, and this is the repercussion of it. Like people don't respect the nuclear families anymore, so there's no fathers. So people are growing up just lashing out because they're being raised by their mothers, and they're extremely emotional, and they don't know how to deal with things. And the fact that people just don't respect the fact they'll respect the LGBT over respecting Christianity, like the Tennessee, the thing that happened in Tennessee where they had the school shooting, the Christian school shooting, and they still have not released that manifesto. But if it was the other way around, we all know that would be everywhere. That would be the new movement of 2023. It's just truly insane, and that's not American, because Americans were founded by Christian people who believe in God. So that's what we need to go back to. And that's that.
Amen. Yeah, it's very interesting to see how fast it's like when Trump came on the scene, that's when all this extreme things happened, right?
Yes.
Even Nancy Pelosi in 2003 wrote a book about the nuclear family, that there needs to be a mother, there needs to be a father, right? But now she's completely opposite. What did she change from the time she was 65 to now?
Right.
No. It's just like Trump and the MAGA movement just like makes their demons manifest or something. But
absolutely,
the thing that amazes me the most, and we're going to finish with this, is what they're doing to the African American community. I've been to Africa. Unlike many of these people who actually call themselves, I'm African.
Right.
I've been to Africa. I've been to Lagos, Nigeria. I have friends in Uganda, in Kenya, in Lagos, Nigeria. One of my guys who's making an intro video for my YouTube channel lives in Nigeria. I've been there. I spent time there. And if they were to see how the African community looks at the LGBTQ community and the trans community, that they would be ashamed that people call themselves African Americans. They'd say,
absolutely, don't associate us with that.
Every single African president has told the West to go home, take their money because of the LGBT stuff they're pushing, and they're inviting Russia and China in.
Right. In Uganda, isn't it like, don't they like put you in jail?
You're done.
Right. They don't play that over there. And I understand that.
You go to jail for a short period of time and then that's it.
Right. And
it goes back to, they look at the West. Here's what Putin and all them said. They said, because now even in Russia, the whole movement is illegal, which it was legal just a year ago. They said, when we look at the fall of the West and what's happening to their children, this is why we say no.
Absolutely. And that's what you have to do, because they want your children. They're here, they're queer, they're coming for your children. Yep. Like they saying it out loud. And it's quite apparent. They used the rainbow. They stole the rainbow from the Bible, and they're using it to attract children. Obviously, a child's going to be attracted to colorful things. It's so sick. It's sick. Yeah. But they said it has to be in the classroom. It's going to distract the children. They're going to be looking at that flag, wondering about it and wanting to know about it. And obviously, a sick person is going to want to pervert them. And that's what angers me the most, because I'm going to be a mother very soon. Yeah. And I don't want to have to deal with this. So I'll be sure to homeschool my children, because I do not want them to be indoctrinated. I had the blessing of being homeschooled by my mother. So I already know the value in the it needs to happen, especially in a day like today. When I was a child, it wasn't even like the LGBT wasn't even in schools, and it was still necessary to homeschool. So now it's just, it should be mandatory, honestly, because it's crazy. It's crazy.
It is. But I believe through prayer, and in the next election, I think I know that they're going to try to play games and everything, but I truly believe we got this.
Yes.
I truly believe we're going to win.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go, all of her links to her YouTube, her TikTok, her Twitter, well, former Twitter, now X, are all down below. I need you guys to go subscribe, follow, show some love, because this is someone who used to be really deeply involved with the left and with their radical ideas. And now, by the grace of God, she's no longer like how the left wants to say. She's no longer black. Not right. We're just MAGA. That's all we know.
That's it. I'm American.
Thank you so much, everyone. Go subscribe.
Thank you.